It's a great honor for me to host dinner to celebrate the 80th birthday of my hero. Someone I have always looked up to. Somebody you all admire. I'd like to thank Barbara for taking care of our friend. Behind every successful man, there's a woman. In case of Tony Deepji, is Barbara. He has three wonderful children. Nina, who has worked very hard to put this dinner together. Roger has helped by accompanying Nina, and Paul has helped through his checkbook.
We're now going to have grace, and that will be read by Nina Singera.
For what we are about to receive, may the Lord make us truly thankful. Amen.
Thank you very much indeed for hosting this evening, Lord Ranger, and thank you, Tony, Nina, and the Wouhra family for the privilege of being here. I first became a fan and an admirer of Tony when I was working for HSBC in the Midlands around the millennium. Going to see some of our most important customers to try and present myself and understand a bit about their business. And only a few made a really deep impression on me, and one of them was Tony. I want to tell you why. Because there were a lot of good businessmen, but very few really struck home as being truly innovative, thoughtful, and actually really detailed around their business. And I remember to the day going to East End Foods up at the Hawthorns ground there, Tony, and you taking me around both the cash and carry and the spice warehouse. And what struck me were a few things. You knew a lot of your customers by name. You knew your staff. You knew the price of everything. You knew what you bought it for. Whether it was in the spice warehouse or it was in the cash, whatever it was, you had the detail. And of course, you were ably backed up in banking matters by David, who always knew better than I did what the balance was in the bank account, and always knew the exchange rate to 1 decimal point more than everybody else. And a fantastic team it was. And I came away truly impressed with our business. And over the years, I've kept in touch with Tony as my career took me on to do various things, and he's been kind enough to keep in touch and to involve me in all he's been doing. And some of it, of course, was developmental about East End Foods and giving back to the community and keeping that core of the family around the business. But I got a call from him around the time when he invested in the new head office at the old HP site, if you remember, Tony. And he said, you've got to come and see it next time you're up in Birmingham, Alan, because I want to show you this urban farm I've got going. And I think, urban farm, what's going on? Okay, you know, Tony's a visionary, let's go and have a chat. And I remember turning up and watching that wonderful spiral where you were growing hydroponics, yes? And all this visionary stuff. And of course, it was a bit lost to me. I was only a kind of cautious banker, and I'm going, Tony's always invested, he's always been really good. I'm not quite sure about this. But it seemed to me quite visionary and giving back, and Tony had a real zest. You could see the fire in his eye to make this happen. We're going to create, vertical farms, urban farms for the poor in Shanghai. And it's all based around this science. You'll never have heard of it, called hydroponics. And I'm can I stop you there? There's a venerable, excellent business leader in Birmingham who's already done all this. You're behind the times. And, it was absolutely wonderful to see the shock on some young executives full of energy to know that, Tony, your vision was not just ahead of your time in the UK, but it was leading across the world. A real visionary, and Britain needs more business leaders like you that have this root of the family and the hard work, that put back into the community, that create employment, create profit, do well for society and for the family. You're a person that I think we all admire, and it's wonderful that we're here today to celebrate your 80th birthday. But so many people here have done so much more than me. But for me, it's been a true pleasure to have an association in business of over 20 years with you, Tony, and your family. Thank you. It's been wonderful.
And I'd like to call Mr. Paul Wouhra to the stage.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, we put together a little video of my father and some of his achievements over the long journey that he's had. And believe me, it was quite difficult cramming 80 years into a number of minutes. But of course, we couldn't put everything in there. But the major highlights we have put together, and we hope that you enjoyed. It tells a bit of a story of his journey, and we had a bit of fun making it. So please.
Kuldeep Singh Wouhra MBE, also known as Tony Deep Wouhra, is a sincere and loving friend, brother, husband, father and grandfather. He told me that some of his first memories go back as far as August 1947, when he was only 5 years old. Both he and his elder brother, Trilok Singh, TS, were visiting their grandparents in Wouhra, situated in northwest of British India. The British left India dividing the country into two parts, forming Islamic Pakistan and secular India. Muhammad Ali Jinnah wanted an Islamic republic and Pandit Nehru wanted a secular India. It was unfortunate that the part of India where Tony's grandparents lived was sectioned into Pakistan, while Delhi, where the two brothers lived with their parents, remained in secular India. The most unfortunate part was for Hindus and Sikhs to go to secular India, and Muslims could move to Pakistan. Tony, his brother TS, and their grandmother escaped on the roof of a train to India, leaving behind their grandfather, the pillar of the family. He was unfortunately stabbed to death in that civil war on a train bound for India. However, the formation of Pakistan brought such bloodshed to the civil war that ensued, the coming generations could never forget it. The Wouhra family's economic situation got worse as they left all their properties behind in Pakistan. Tony's elder brother TS graduated from Delhi University and got work in a government job. With a large family to support, Tony, with his basic high school education, had to find a clerical job. White-collar middle-class families in India usually struggled to get by. In the late 1950s, a lot of young college boys used to aspire to go to England to fulfill their dreams for a better life. Indeed, this idea also appealed to Tony, and he became determined to go to England. With the help of his family, friends, and much effort, he finally reached the UK in 1961 with very little money on him.
In those days, everybody leaving India was allowed only £3. And so my story wasn't any different. But the race was to beat the deadline of the immigration law that was coming into force in 1962. I was grateful to be able to beat that.
Tony was on a modest wage of just £7 a week, out of which he had to help out his family too. As a result, Tony was always in debt since he religiously maintained monthly payments to his family in India.
I got a labourer's job with Wolverhampton Council mixing sand and cement. I really had to be thankful for that.
He joined Wolverhampton Polytechnic at the evening classes. There he met another student, Barbara, who referred him to a poultry farmer in Old Brighton, just outside of Wolverhampton, as he wanted to do more than just a job. Tony started to sell eggs from door to door. This part-time work actually earned him more money than his full-time job. In 1964, he left his job and ventured into opening a small food shop, which he expanded into a small wholesale business selling eggs. In 1967, his elder brother TS requested that he wanted to come to the UK to qualify as a barrister and that he had to be a clerk in a law office. he was now able to come to England. He also found time to help Tony in the business too. Working together, they shaped the business well. Tony and Barbara had been courting for over 5 years now. In those days, it was not common for an English girl to get married to an Indian man. The families, however, agreed to their proposal of Tony and Barbara getting married in 1967. The wedding took place at Smethwick Gurdwara in the West Midlands.
Our marriage took place in Smethwick Gurdwara. We had about 40 guests, but there were more than 200 onlookers watching an English girl getting married to an Indian man.
By 1970, 2 more brothers, Jas and David, joined. They were young students, but used to help in the business part-time. All the brothers worked hard together with 100% commitment. They created the brand East End for their Indian food products. In the early 80s, East End joined Landmark Wholesale, a large UK buying consortium which gave another boost to their expansion as they added British FMCG brands to their range. Combined with sourcing high-quality raw material and premium packaging of Indian food ingredients, the East End brand became popular with the consumers.
मैं आज ना ईस्ट एंड वाली फैक्ट्री वेखी तो वेरी नाइस है बिकॉज पहला आप वेखते सी मसाला बनाने सानू नहीं सी पता इन्ना कुछ करना पैंदा है मसाला इन्ना वधिया बनाउण दे लाइक सारा कुछ बहुत वधिया ही चौलां दी स्मैल बहुत सोहनी लगी मैनू इंडिया दा चेता आ गया मैनू थैंक यू
बहुत अंदर सफाई इन्हां दे अंदर ते चीज़ां इन्हां दी बहुत साफ सुथरियां
We really enjoyed the tour. We learned a lot about the quality control that you have of all the dala, and we learned about how you restore rice for 3 years before it goes out.
As the company fortunes elevated, Tony and his brother TS also worked with charities to fulfill their obligations for the less privileged in society. Tony's father-in-law, Jack Glaze, lost his eyesight during his working life, and inspired by this, Tony started a talking newspaper for the blind. Volunteers would read the local news, and a recorded cassette would be sent out weekly by post to the registered blind in Wolverhampton and Birmingham areas. And later the Wolverhampton Institute for the Blind expressed a wish if they could serve and take over the unique newspaper. With the understanding that the listeners of the talking newspaper would keep increasing, the Institute was handed over the responsibility. As the head office of East End moved to West Bromwich, Tony established a charity called Healthy Hearts with Dr. Liz Hughes, consultant at Sandwell and City Hospital. They provided help and support for diabetic people in the area, and this initiative was under the patronage of internationally renowned Indian cricketer Kapil Dev. Volunteer doctors and nurses would go to temples, gurdwaras, churches and mosques to test people for blood sugar, cholesterol and blood pressure. It was discovered that over 40% of Asians were diabetic and did not even know it. This service helped the NHS to treat people early. Now, back to business. Tony brought in 2 graduates from a London university to introduce and implement quality systems to the manufacturing process. The directors welcomed the idea and a quality control department was established. A laboratory was created on site to get speedy results, which further helped the business maintain the correct quality for the East End brand. They say every successful business has to have somebody with star qualities to elevate the performance and reputation of a company. Tony had discovered those star qualities in his brother David Wouhra. David had the foresight and commitment needed for an upcoming and modern business. Both of them handpicked a small team of graduates from the University of London to create a robust quality assurance program.
At East End, we make sure that the quality of our produce is the best from all over the world. We do not compromise on the raw materials. We may compromise on transportation and freight, etc., packaging, but never on the quality of produce. That is the most important, and that's what makes East End brand.
The East End brand was now receiving national recognition, and the company kept working under the leadership of David as Tony spent more time with the farmers who were trained to grow healthy crops. Twice a year, the general public were invited to visit the food plant in West Bromwich, and the end users were asked to give true opinions about the East End brand after a tour of the factory. In addition to giving the second generation a fine upbringing, the wives had to work in the business every day. This obviously contributed to the success of the business and encouraged the spirit of unity within the family. Most of the family members worked in the company. Some of them performed very well and brought in new ideas, giving more commitment to the business. By 1990, the turnover of the company crossed £95 million and it employed around 110 people. The second generation took over responsibility of different departments. At that time, Asian businesses were contributing over £10 billion to the UK's GDP, and the directors of East End wanted to get their views of Asian businesses heard by the government. The National Organisation of Asian Businesses, NOAB, under the chairmanship of Tony, was launched in the dining room of the House of Commons in 1992, in the presence of the then Prime Minister, the Right Honourable John Major MP. David was the only brother who brought company work home. He spent the extra hours to develop a strategy to increase profitability for the company. Lentils, peas, beans and spices were imported from Australia, Thailand, China, India and Canada. The farmers needed technical training to ensure the harvested crops contained minimal levels of pesticide residue to produce healthy food. In the year 2000, Tony was awarded an MBE by Her Majesty the Queen for outstanding service to the Asian food sector within the UK. In 2006, he was made a Deputy Lieutenant to Her Majesty the Queen for the West Midlands. And to add to this list of accolades, the University of Birmingham awarded him an honorary doctorate in 2010. In 2012, Tony launched another initiative to demonstrate to people living in urban areas that many healthy vegetables like lettuce, spinach and coriander could be grown in their gardens in under a month. To prove this, an 18-metre high vertical farm was erected at East End Foods, Aston.
Now, is this the farm of the future, impervious to the weather? It's a 3-storey tower of crops being grown inside the lobby of Birmingham food giant East End Foods. 4 years in the planning, the new farm is the largest of its type in the UK. We sent our science correspondent David Gregory Kumar along to see how the first ever crop was looking.
Could this be the future of farming? Crops orbiting artificial light, filling the lobby of East End Foods in Birmingham.
It is pretty warm in here, I have to say, but obviously the plants, like this lettuce that's just drifting past, really seem to enjoy it. Now, at 3 stories high, they think here this is the largest urban farm of its type anywhere in the UK.
The trays of seedlings arrive here in the basement and are planted up and then moved to the urban farm itself. This is the first crop though, so does the system need any tweaks?
Definitely, there's a lot of tweaking going on. This is very much the first harvest. We are ready now to harvest a lot of the vegetables which are growing. And it's very much experimental at the moment. Once we have got used to it and we've done a few crop cycles, I think that we're going to have some very interesting results.
This is a 4-year passion project for the boss of East End Foods.
We urge people to cut out their meat by 10-15% and increase the vegetables. So you could go with the nutrient and grow it in your garden and enjoy the same kind of facility as indeed you see there.
In February 2013, Prime Minister David Cameron decided to take a business delegation to create better business relations with India. Both Tony and his son Paul went with the largest business delegation ever taken by a British Prime Minister. Paul enjoyed this business trip and found it very educational. Prime Minister Cameron visited the Golden Temple in Amritsar, and he also personally visited one of East End's largest rice suppliers. The Prime Minister encouraged Tony and Paul to expand the business into India. Important spices are grown in India, and that needs a strict control on chemical input. Tony took this challenge at the age of 73. he left the UK with the intention of building a state-of-the-art spice plant in Pune, Maharashtra. He started working with farmers in 3 large spice-growing areas: Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Rajasthan. After working in the UK for over 50 years, it was a difficult task, but Tony's friends like Lord Rami Ranger gave him full encouragement and support for the project.
I have admired Mr. Wouhra, Tony ji, ever since I arrived in this country. He is a pioneer. He has broken many sound barriers for our community and inspired many people like me. When at the age of 73, he told me he was going to India to set up a new project. As you know, he's a perfectionist. He wanted to produce all Indian masalas with maximum purity. And I was quite shocked. And I said, Tony, this is a very difficult project to deal in India. But then I saw the enthusiasm of his son, Paul. Then I said, look, we have to give youngster a full support. Tony never ceased to surprise me. Even at the age of 80, I'm sure he will have another project.
Paul, Tony's eldest son with over 25 years experience in the business, realized that Tony was taking a hell of a chance at the age of 73. So he told his father that he would join him in this challenging venture, and he made a significant sacrifice and moved to India with his wife and 2 children. Tony knew that children born in the UK could not easily fit into a strange environment such as India. Indeed, he was amazed that his son was not afraid to make such a sacrifice. With a lot of hard work, both father and son convinced over 4,000 farmers to join to take part in contract farming with technical training and discipline. The project was called AgriPure. It was difficult to recruit the farmers in the first 4 months, but once they knew that we'd buy back the produce at a slight premium, they happily joined the program. AgriPure would provide them with the best quality seeds for planting. In the event of any disease to the plant, the agronomists were at hand to advise the correct treatment. Every disease to a plant cannot necessarily be treated with chemicals or pesticides. The agronomists employed by the project would visit and advise the right way forward. Very often, manure made with cow dung works as a simple remedy. This training gave the farmers confidence, and they got better yields, a better price, and the end user received healthy food. And as a food import company, we would receive fresh produce to the European standards, and this would help to elevate our brand. The chemical supply companies did not like this. They give the farmers credit facilities for the chemicals used during the crop cycle. In return, their men would be standing by to recover debts at the time of harvest. This constantly kept the farmers under the debt of these very powerful and financially strong companies. Indeed, the mighty chemical companies will constantly hinder the work of organizations like AgriPure, who are doing this kind of reform in India. Now that Dad is 80 years old, I told him to slow down a little and devote some time to a hobby. To that effect, in July 2021, we organized a supercar rally from Andorra to Monaco. And he actually took part in that rally and enjoyed the drive at the tender age of 79. How can you beat that? Passion always has a special place in their hearts. Tony and Paul are now working in Spain and Portugal. In this case, the olive growing farmers have gone all the way and are growing organic olives and processes them to produce organic extra virgin olive oil. The Wouhra family has now grown big, with more than 50 members. Their discipline and way of work has left a unique legacy behind. Looking back, the family has had its ups and downs, but by and large, they've had good times together. They were together for half a century, celebrating birthdays, weddings, festivals, and business shows, all with pomp and show. One prominent feature stands out: unity is strength.
Wow, when they said it was 20 minutes long, this is the first time I've seen it tonight, this video. And when I said it was 20 minutes long, I thought, wow, what's going to be in this video? And I don't think 20 minutes was long enough.
Absolutely fantastic. Really, really well done. Actually, can't believe that yesterday, 10 years ago yesterday, we had our 40th anniversary, East End Foods anniversary in the members' dining room of the House of Commons. Can't believe it's been 10 years. But can you please ensure your glasses are all full? I'd like to make 2 toasts this evening. The first is to absent friends, those for whatever reason couldn't make it here tonight, or indeed our good friends and relatives who are no longer with us. To absent friends. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the loyal toast to Her Majesty? The Queen.
The Lord Ranger, half asleep on his phone over there, got up and said to you that behind every great man, you got that wrong, sir, behind every great man is a surprised mother-in-law. When I came this evening, I prepared a speech that after that amazing video, and dare I say it, Alan's very touching personal speech was somewhat out of date. So I'd like to talk a little, if I may, of my love of India. And seeing Capel there, like you, sir, an old friend. My life began with the Indians at Oxford University, with the Nawab of Patodi, who was captain of Oxford and captain of India when I was up. And we became friends because we were in the sporting club together. And we remained friends for our entire lives. And indeed, recently when I was in your great country, he and Kapil Dev held a dinner in my honor, which made me very proud because I have loved cricket and I have loved Indian cricket all my life. I think it's sad that at the moment you're a load of rubbish, and we're much better than... No, I can't say that. But I've also, in my writing, as a writer, India has been perhaps the most important country on earth for me. I sell more books in India than in the United States. You're a mad country, you lot. You're big readers. But I'll tell you a story of coming off a plane in Delhi, and you've all seen those little boys. I hope it's nice what's coming on the phone, madam, and I apologize if I'm boring you. Oh, you did. You've all seen when you get off a plane in Delhi and you go in a car and you start moving into the town at 3 miles an hour. You've all been there. Little boy came up with a pile of books and knocked on my window. So I wound the window down and he said, "Would you like the latest Jeffrey Archer?" I said, "I am the latest Jeffrey Archer." I don't know what it is about India. It's a passion and it's a love. And I'm very painfully aware, as an Englishman, that you are now taking over our country, slowly and wickedly, by working harder than anyone else. And if I may say, your company is a classic example. Bravo to you, sir, in every way. And I was speaking recently in Jaipur, and I was taken to a school. I was so impressed by the next generation of women in India. I think you better wake up, men in this room. When those women get to England, we're going to be in trouble. They are the most exciting generation I have come across because they have a work ethic and an honesty and a decency which is going back to Margaret Thatcher, with everything she believed in. I had to rewrite the speech. I had to throw away what I'd prepared this afternoon. when I saw your video. Because when they sent me notes about what you'd achieved, you can't see it, can you, in black and white on paper? You have to see what you actually did. And your brother David pointed out to me, 33 members of your family were working for the family firm. Isn't that amazing? When you have a great business, as Alan will tell you, you always need a visionary to start the whole thing off. And it's the visionary that does it. But it struck me, watching the video, listening to Alan's speech, that the combination of you and David was a pretty startling combination. And I believe David deserves this evening as much praise as the birthday boy. So I'm going to ask every one of you to rise and toast the health of the birthday boy. The toast is, no, you stay sitting down. Toast is the birthday boy.
And I'd like to call upon our guest of honour, Dr. Tony Deep Wouhra, MBE DL, to say a few words.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have got to put my foot rather firmly after that many red wines, you see. Now you've heard absolutely a lot this evening with a video that was never shown to me, and I think there was some kind of conspiracy going between Lord Ravi Ranger and my children, and they put these things together. They did ask me that they are writing something, and I said, be kind and only write what is truth. Don't write anything that is untrue. So this happened, how much justice they did, I think they did pretty well. But coming back to this glorious historical setting that the boys and girls have arranged this function, and of course my host, Lord Ranger and Lady Ranger, they never let me know too much about it either. I was never fond of celebrating my birthday, as every time I reached 29, 39, 49, and I got stuck for 7-8 years. You've heard that before. This mostly happens with the ladies, but it's been happening to me, and now, of course, the face tells as well. I'm 80, 81, but when we go, have we left this earth better than we found it? We all got to think, so never leave this world worse than you found it. In earlier years of my life, I've been guided by friends like Alan Kerr, and as you know, finance is very important. If you haven't got the finance in place at the right time, you'd definitely go wrong. So those people let us be on the right path is very, very important. And Alan Kerr has been very kind and gave us a lot of support. Ladies and gentlemen, life goes with good friends, and today, so many of them, Dr. Pasi, Devan Singh, Prithvi Chopra, so many friends have left us, and they left us all younger than me. They were older than me, but they went beforehand. So we all, dear friends, remember them on that day. My elder brother, he left. My youngest one, he left. And we never ever thought that at the age of 60 he will leave. So all these people have done a lot in East End Foods, our friendship, and also our progress. There is a young lady behind a man's success. Yes, today will be to those men who have always been so kind and helpful, but because they have helped me, their ladies will get bouquet of flowers. The first one will go to Stella Kier, and that will be presented by Gurbani. And next one is Sahib. My dear brother David, Dolly will get Dolly Wouhra. May I present one to my dear friend, Lord Ranger. God bless. Renu Ranger. May I present one for Lord Archer to take home for Mary Archer, Dame Mary Archer.
Is it your grandson who's at Buckingham University?
Yes.
Where is he?
Jay, where are you,
Where
mate?
are you? Stand up, let's see you. Stand up, let's have a look at you.
Stand up,
No,
and come here.
I didn't say applaud, I said stand up. Now, what's his name?
Jay.
Jay. Jay is at Buckingham University. What's he saying?
Oh, his degree is guaranteed. No.
No.
It
Behave
depends
yourself.
on his work.
Behave yourself, Lord Ranger. He's at Buckingham University, and the reason my wife isn't here tonight is she is Chancellor of Buckingham University and presenting the degrees today. So she's very sorry she's not here, and I will take the flowers back, and I'm very grateful. We wish you, where are you, useless individual? There you are. We wish you every luck, and I shall tell Mary when I get back that you were here, and I apologize for her not being here, but she is someone who gives public service first and foremost, and so is there giving the degrees. Now listen to me, young man. If you don't get one, you're going to be in real trouble with everybody in this room. Is that right? Got that in your head? Because I'm going to tell Mary your name when I get back tonight, and she'll look you up and see if you're working hard enough. Is that understood? You may give him a small round of applause.
Thank you very much, Lord Archer. Last but not the least, I don't know how to say it, but this goes to Barbara Ann Wouhra. Thank you ever so much. My thank you to Nina Singera, my daughter, who's done all the paperwork in order to organize. And as Lord Archer says, it was well organized. That means it was well organized. The contributors in the background have been Paul and Roger. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed the evening just as much as I have done. Thank you ever so much, and we'll meet again.
Get you up there where the air is rarefied. We'll just glide so starry-eyed. Want to get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may even hear all the angels cheer, because we're together. Weather-wise, it's such a sunny day. And you just say the words and we'll take some birds down to Acapulco Bay. And it's so perfect for a flying honeymoon. They say, come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly. There's a bar in far Bombay. Come on, fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's float down to Wouhra. There's a one-man band and he'll tune his flute for you. Come on, fly with me, let's take off in the blue. Want to get you up there where the air is rarefied. We'll just glide so starry-eyed. Want to get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may even hear all the angels cheer, because we're together. Weather-wise, it's such a lovely day. You just say the words and we'll take some birds down to Acapulco Bay. And it's so perfect for a flying honeymoon. They say, come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly. Back up there. Don't tell your mama.